Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Jeffrey Epstein's crimes shocked the world, not only for the cruelty involved, but because he was rich, powerful, and well-connected. How could someone with such wealth and status perpetrate and hide such heinous behavior for so long? To answer this, we must go deeper into the psychology of power, entitlement, manipulation, and systemic protection. One of the most striking features of Epstein's case was how his wealth and status seemed to give him a sense of being above the rules. Research into power and cognition shows that when individuals hold significant wealth or influence, they often develop a sense of moral entitlement, a belief that typical social constraints like laws, ethics, and the rights of others don't fully apply to them. Power slowly reshapes how a person views themselves and others. There's a psychological erosion of the shared sense of humanity. Powerful people may start seeing others as lesser or as tools to be used.
What is this for?
Just take it, no questions. This mindset does not emerge from a single act of corruption, rather. It evolves over time through repeated experiences where power shields someone from consequences. Those repeated experiences embed a belief that laws and morals are for others, not for them. Epstein's behavior, from grooming to exploitation, displays classic hallmarks of personality traits psychologists associate with sexual predators. Traits like narcissism, psychopathy, and emotional callousness. People with high narcissistic or psychopathic traits show a lack of empathy and an ability to view others solely as objects for their needs. In a wealthy, powerful context, these traits can become amplified because external restraints are weakened. Here, the psychology is both individual and structural, his lack of empathy, paired with social insulation. Epstein didn't just offend impulsively, he systematically groomed and manipulated victims and their families. So, this is a defining element of sexual predation psychology. The predator creates dependency, trust, or fear, and then uses it to control the victim. Grooming is strategic. It begins with attention, flattery, and promises in Epstein's case. Small payments which build psychological and sometimes financial dependency. This exploitation targeted the most vulnerable minors with economic hardship, social instability, or limited family support, showing how predators select victims based on vulnerability and access. Psychologically, wealth doesn't just shape beliefs, it also creates structural shields. Epstein's connections to lawyers, politicians, and elite institutions slowed accountability and normalized his behavior privately, even as it remained hidden publicly. What happened here wasn't just an individual case, but a systemic failure. Institutions prioritized reputation, influence, or economic contributions over ethical integrity. This reinforces one key psychological effect. Repeated avoidance of consequences strengthens self-justification. The brain interprets lack of punishment as tacit approval, eventually internalizing deviant behavior as acceptable. Epstein's victims were not random. They were often marginalized girls, dehumanized both by the predators and by a society that dismissed their voices. When victims are socially devalued because of poverty, age, or gender, the predator's psychological barriers to exploitation diminish. The perpetrator treats them as objects, not individuals with rights. This dehumanization isn't just personal, it is culturally reinforced when institutions and media fail to protect or believe victims. The psychology behind Epstein's behavior is not magical or outlandish. It is a convergence of individual traits, the psychological effects of power, systemic immunity, and social devaluation of victims. Wealth does not inherently cause abuse, but it facilitates, enables, and often protects it. What this case reveals is uncomfortable. Human psychology is malleable under power and status, especially when backstopped by systems that fail to hold individuals accountable. Understanding these dynamics is essential if we are to prevent similar abuses in the future.
These children, for vaccines, I think you might want to ask their mothers.